And now to our discussion segment on the program this morning, we'll take a look at the ongoing Central Bank of Nigeria Monetary Policy Committee meeting that is coming up later. The very first since Yemi Cardoso assumed office as governor of Apex Bank. The Senate has also approved 12 members who will participate in that meeting going forward as required by law. Now, analysts are expecting a significant increase in the benchmark interest rate, also known as the monetary policy rate. The MPC last met in July since Cardoso assumed office in September 2023. The Apex Bank has utilized open market operations to tighten its monetary policy stance as part of efforts to combat inflation. With me to discuss this issue is Dr. Chijioke Ikechukwu, MD, CEO, Dignity Finance and Investment Limited. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Well, there's so much, expectation from this monetary policy meeting, and a lot of people, in fact, a lot of people out there will say that, well, it wouldn't matter much seeing the price of goods and services. So what do you make of this particular point of view?
A lot of people have expectations because the last time we had MPC meeting was July 24th, 25th last year. And so since then till now, of course, you remember the clamoring for an MPC meeting, which the CBN governor said was not very necessary because they had met the condition for last year. So having said this, a lot of expectations are there, considering again the size of money, so to say, in circulation, and the level of inflation rate that we have today. If all pundits will obviously say that there has to be an increase in MPR. But of course, I also expect that is going to happen. But as we do this, we need to be very circumspect. We have to be circumspect because there are a lot of other drivers of inflation which are not within the purview and the control of the CBN. So while using monetary policy to try to adjust the inflation rate, we need to also note that when the thing is stifled, the system will also suffer for it, meaning that monies that would have been made available for a lot of businesses and for lending and for stimulating the economy will not be there just because we are trying to fight inflation. And you see, the fight against inflation in the inflation rates in the past didn't achieve so much, especially when we used a lot of monetary policy to fight it or to control it, because, like I said, a lot of other drivers. Let us even talk about the issues of the food issues, the scarcity of food all over the place, which has actually increased food inflation. You see, this is not driven by monetary policy. This is driven by a lot of things, insecurity in the farmlands and other things that are making farmers not to produce optimally, the kind of weather conditions that are making farmers not to produce optimally. So this is one of them. Of course, we also look at the areas of exchange rate, which though part of monetary.
Before we get to exchange rate, will this actually matter? Because you've said it yourself that this will not change or have any, I don't know whether it will have impact, some impact probably on prices of goods and services. But would this stance change when we continue tightening? Looking at the fact that when we tighten, it now increases cost of borrowing. Yeah. So how does this affect the real sector?
Many times we have overlap of all these conditions. I was just going to head there before you came in. Many times when we try to tighten the rates, you see that monies are not made available. Even if they are made available, the interest rates will start rising. Now, on one hand, interest rate will rise, which will in turn increase the inflation rate we're trying to control with the MPR. Now, these are some of the issues that happen when there are other factors that actually affect inflation. One other factor that obviously that is not within the control of the monetary policy is also the energy and energy costs, which is the cost of diesel, the cost of electricity, and all that. That has actually contributed a lot to the cost of doing business in Nigeria and cost of living, as you all know. And again, when we also say let's even go to solar energy, the cost of solar energy today is almost not affordable to an average Nigerian. So you see, even if you try to tighten so much, these are all other factors that are going to affect inflation rates, which you know, tightening the monetary policy will not help you to achieve. So we need to be circumspect. We need to be careful and cautious in trying to use rate, MPR, to control inflation rate only.
Okay, we've seen the central bank pegging the amount of dollar itself to other people, like when you're using cash to $500 and transactions that involve more than $10,000. You know, there's a particular regulation to that. So what other things do you see them or decisions do you see them taking in this particular meeting regarding the fact that also there are other, most of the committee, in fact the whole committee members are new?
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether the committee members are new or old. The issue is the fact that these men are knowledgeable and are experts in their own regard. When I saw this regulation by CBN, I imagined that it's going to help. The same way having limit of withdrawal helped in carrying cash, Naira cash around. You know, if I have to have transaction in dollar and I want to withdraw $10,000 or more, all they need to do is just to transfer to my account, as the case may be, instead of just withdrawing the cash, which obviously will continue to put pressure on the dollar and, of course, foreign currency notes. So that is one of the means of reducing the pressure. But you know that it is just not all that is going to be done, because the major problem is the fact that we have supply issues of this particular foreign currency.
So how do we improve our supply issue? Using monetary policy tool?
You don't give what you don't have.
Yes.
You don't give what you don't have. If you don't have it, you cannot give it. So what we have to do is just to ensure that revenue base in foreign currency is improved. Okay. The major revenue source for us is the oil, still remains the oil. So
that means in collaboration with fiscal authorities.
That's right. There's a lot that has to do with fiscal authorities and even the trade policy area. Okay. You know, so we have to do a lot in those areas.
Okay. Well, how do you see you and other economists and analysts have see the possibility of tightening? How do you see this impacting on investor confidence?
Not so much. Actually, not so much, because when you tighten, what is going to happen is that, first of all, you achieve just one thing. We may achieve one thing, which is trying to control or reduce the inflation rate. Does it actually improve investor confidence? That is a little questionable, because what is going to happen is that investors should actually have access to funds of banks and funds all over the place. When you tighten, you see that interest rate is going to go up, and an average investor needs funds to invest. You know, so we expect that it may affect investment. It may actually reduce business pursuit and all the business flow that we expect to happen in the system, because that's actually what tightening does. However, it's also expected that it may reduce the knack for demand of foreign currency. You know, when you tighten, not enough money will be made available to you, and so people who would obviously want to take facilities to go and buy foreign currency may not actually do that anymore, because the rate will just be high. So sometimes you want to achieve one thing and the impact will be negative in another monetary side or monetary policy side of what you want to achieve. Those are some of the things. That's why I said we need to be cautious in increasing the MPR.
Okay, can we go through maybe the potential benefits and risk attached to probably increase or decrease of the MPR? Maybe you can take us through.
Yeah. By the way, I'm sure we know MPR is one of the tools. You use a monetary policy to be able to control money in circulation. And of course, when the M1, M2 considered to be high in the system, you are going to use MPR and other tools to reduce or increase as the case may be. Now, it depends on what side of the pendulum the CBN wants to swing to and what they want to achieve. When money in circulation is high, obviously, we expect that all the tools of using the treasury bills, treasury certificates, and bonds to reduce all those monies in circulation. We also open market operation and others. We also use cash reserve ratios. We also use liquidity ratio, and these are all the monetary policy tools that can be used. So it depends on what the CBN wants to achieve whenever the rates are high or low. So obviously, when there is a tightening, which means the MPR is high, a lot of things are going to happen. Just like I said, the interest rates are going to also be high because there will be little, once you increase that, that means banks lending money from CBN or borrowing money from CBN will actually, the interest rate will be high. Okay. Automatically, they will transfer it to the customers who are already borrowing. And of course, that means that the interest rate is going to be high, which will affect business flow, which is going to make even cost of production high, and they will transfer that to consumer ultimately.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Chijioke Ikechukwu. It's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you very much. It's always my pleasure.